Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me, and we have some morning buzz. We have some breaking news. I haven't even finished my cup of joe on this Sunday morning, and we have a Twitter storm, a sports storm, a news storm, and that is Caitlin Clark being left off Team USA's Olympic roster for Paris 2024. And I did my best to absorb all the information I could, as well as come to my own conclusions based on what I've seen and what I know about the sport of basketball. And so that's what this video is all about. We're going to talk about my opinions on this matter, where I think, there are concessions that need to be made, and just my overall thoughts. So my first comment and my foremost comment and my most important comment is, I realize that we have to juggle the sport with the politics, especially for something as big and as important as the Olympics. I get that it's never going to be about basketball at the end of the day. It's going to always bleed into economics and politics and spectacle and media recognition and, just how the media absorbs certain things. I'm going to try to make this conversation as much about basketball as possible, because at the end of the day, I think that's what matters. If the U.S. wants to go in and defend their gold medal for the 8th time in a row, the U.S. women's team has won 7 gold medals in a row, they should be building the best team for basketball. Now, if this is a purely basketball-motivated decision to leave her off the roster, I'm okay with it, and I will explain why as we continue. But if there are other things that play into it, which there clearly are, then I start to wonder, and I start to shake my head a little bit about the decision that was made. This is the roster, and I've gone ahead and highlighted in yellow the guards. So these would be the people who made the team over her. And I have absolutely no problem with most of the decisions made for the guard position, except one. And this is the one where it gets political, and there's a conversation that can be had. Obviously, Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, Jewel Lloyd, and Chelsea Gray, I believe statistically, experience-wise, player caliber, all are reasonable choices above Caitlin Clark. Okay, like if we're just talking strictly basketball, there's no argument that I have to put her above them. Now, Diana Taurasi is an interesting one. And like I said, it's political. She's 41 years old. Her stats are not that of Caitlin Clark or even some other WNBA players who haven't even been in the conversation about making this team that could have made it over her. This is a situation of experience, of maturity, of leadership more than it is actual playing at this point in her career. Obviously, she's done a ton for the game of basketball. Some people regard her as maybe the best women's basketball player to ever play, or at least in the top 3 and 5. But at this point in her career, is she at a place where her ability on the court exceeds Caitlin Clark's? I would say no. So if you want to talk about her earning this spot in terms of everything outside of basketball, put her on the team, and I can accept that. She has earned it as a 41-year-old woman who has elevated the game and changed the game and brought a lot to the game over her years. But if we're talking about who do I want to step out onto the court and represent the United States as they defend an 8th gold medal and who gives us the best chance to win, I think Caitlin Clark deserves a spot ahead of her. So I'm not saying I think Caitlin should have made the team above her. I'm just saying if it's purely a basketball lens, she should have. But if this is deeper than that, and this becomes a conversation of leadership and experience and team morale and those type of things, then I'm okay with that choice. So this is the roster, and by and large, I don't think Caitlin got snubbed from the roster, okay? But we need to talk about Arike Ogunbowale, because if we're going to talk about snubs, I mean, put her above Diana. 27 points a game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Why is she not on the team? I mean, that's insane. She should be on the team above Caitlin Clark. If we're talking purely basketball, Caitlin's not putting up these numbers, and I get it. Caitlin's on a team that's worse. and she's a rookie. Like I can hear the arguments about they don't have equal situations. The bottom line is, let's talk about Enrique before we talk about Caitlin. That's my opinion from a basketball standpoint. And I realize there are other things politically at play here. Okay. Here's the big problem. This is the one thing that I woke up and said, okay, we've crossed the line. This is ridiculous. This is unfair, and this should never have been mentioned. Team USA veterans were concerned about how Caitlin Clark's millions of fans would react to her likely limited playing time on a stacked roster. That's why she didn't make the roster. Okay? Expressed concerns over her millions of fans would react was a factor in the decision-making. So, according to this, one of the reasons why Caitlin Clark didn't make this team is because they feared fans would be upset that she wouldn't play much. That's stupid. That's asinine. That's idiotic. Okay? Think about this in the context, and here's what I'm going to say. We need to get to a point, and Caitlin Clark, and this is going to get dynamic. Okay, so follow me here. Caitlin Clark and the rest of the women in the WNBA are continuing to try to reach the level that is the NBA and men's athletics for that matter. Women's athletics are underrepresented, underviewed, underfunded. The list goes on compared to men's. Okay, that is a fact. Imagine this sort of explanation in why Russell Westbrook doesn't make a USA Olympic roster. Oh, his fans would be upset that he didn't get much playing time. Can you imagine if we treated men's sports in this way? It would be a laughingstock. So if we want, and I'm not going to call the WNBA a laughingstock, but I'm going to say that there are people out there with that opinion as it relates to the NBA. If we want to take the WNBA from a laughingstock, which I'm not saying it is, but follow me, from a laughingstock to that of a respected professional organization, cut this out. Cut this out. This is unbelievable that this would get released. I don't care if it was a conversation behind closed doors. I don't care if you guys sat around and said, Caitlin Clark, it's going to be a lot of negative. If she gets on the team, all the attention's going to be on her. There's going to be a lot of conversation about her. They're going to neglect all the other 13 players. Oh, it's going to be the Caitlin Clark show. And then when she doesn't play, people are going to have an uproar. Have the conversation, but by golly, don't talk about it. Are you kidding me? All they had to say was there are talented guards with more experience, more leadership than Caitlin Clark right now. We have a limited roster. We have a limited number of people. She will have her time. That's it. You don't even have to say that much, okay? They gave an explanation that was not owed, and a horrible explanation at that. That's my problem with her not making the team. If that is the reason why, they screwed up. Now, I understand there are deeper reasons, but this is the one that we're getting in the media that's generating the buzz. So absolutely insane. Here are my final thoughts. Fewer people are going to watch the Olympics, and that means less money. I don't believe this should be a deciding factor. I don't think that the roster construction should be made with the expectations of more money and more viewership. Okay, the roster should be made with the expectation of winning gold and having the best chance to do so. And if Caitlin Clark doesn't give you that, leave her off the roster. Okay, but understand that fewer people are going to watch, and it will not grow the women's game in the same capacity. Okay, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying you should use Caitlin Clark as a pawn to grow the women's game, right? This is where the nuance gets very, very tight-ropey, okay? This is just a fact, though, okay? I'm not saying that I believe that the fact, dictates or should dictate a change in the roster. I'm just saying it's true, okay? They still will win gold. Okay, they have 7 straight gold medals dating back to 1996. They should have no problem winning gold again. This decision will not impact their chance to win. She would have garnered all the attention. That's not Caitlin Clark's fault, but Again, that could be something where team chemistry matters, and let's wait another 4 years for her hype to calm down, for her to kind of assimilate into the league and be one of the girlies, okay? And I don't mean that in a derogatory, put down way, but so she blends in with the rest of the league, still stands out, but still is blending in outside of just this, young superstar with all the attention, okay? So let's just relax and say that maybe this is okay for her, for Team USA. Okay, I think Enrique should have been the first pick over Caitlin and over Diana. If you want basketball over politics, this is the order. All right. So if we want to talk about Caitlin Clark being snubbed, we must first give credit to Enrique and say she was the true snub, and then Caitlin, and then I think Diana. But obviously, I can only assume this is Diana's last ride, so you give her one last ride, give her one last time. She's going to come out. Caitlin's going to come in. It's going to be a passing of the torch, no pun intended, in the next 4 years. I'm fine with it. And with that being said, Caitlin Clark will be on every team from now until she retires, until she's 41. Okay, so that's 20 years. I'll be over 50 years old. Wow. Okay, that's what I got for you. That's my opinion. I think if it's a basketball conversation, I'm fine with it. If it's anything else, you're cheapening the game. You're cheapening the growth of the women's sport. You're cheapening the hard work that these women have put in. So let's stop saying that this is about her and her upset fans. That's soft. That's idiotic. And that's laughable. So knock it off, cut it out, and we'll see you next time.